My wife planned to kick me out of the house and move her ex in. She said her parents would back her no matter what. So I drove to her dad's office, and by nightfall, she was the one packing boxes while they told me to stay and raise the kids. I'm Dante, mid-30s, civil engineer. 2 kids, Rowan, who never stops asking questions, and Kit, who thinks every couch is a jungle gym. We live in a big house owned by my in-laws, Gideon and Celeste. Their names are on the deed, not mine. Not my wife Judy's. Anytime we argued, she'd jab the same line. You don't own this place, Dante. I let it go. I cared more about stability for the kids than whose name was on the paperwork. Then Judy reconnected with an old friend. His name? Steve. Errands started taking 3 hours. Her phone lived face down. Location kept turning off. You know the drill. The truth slipped out through Rowan. Mom's friend Steve took us for ice cream, he said one day. He bought sprinkles for Kit. Judy snapped from the kitchen. It was a group thing. Don't make it sound weird. That reaction told me everything. That night, I walked past the living room and saw her smiling at her phone in a way you do not smile at just a friend. A preview flashed on her lock screen. Tomorrow, we talk about moving you in. I quietly snapped a photo of it. She had already written me out of the story. The next evening, she sat me down like she was running a meeting. I'm done with this marriage. I'm with Steve. I'm staying in the house with the kids. You'll take them every other weekend. Once you're gone, Steve will move in. My parents will back me. She waited for me to explode. I didn't. I packed a small bag, then set it back down. I'm not leaving, I said. You don't own this house. Your parents do. For the first time, she looked unsure. The next morning, I drove to Gideon's office. Both he and Celeste were there. I don't want money, I said. I just need you to know what your daughter is planning to do in your house. I told them everything. The secret errands, Rowan's ice cream confession, the brunch near Steve's place, the lock screen message about moving him in. I handed Gideon my phone with the screenshot. He stared at it a long time. This house was meant to support a family, he said. Not fund an affair. Celeste's voice was ice cold. Our grandchildren don't live in chaos. Not in our home. Then Gideon looked me in the eye. You and the kids stay. Judy leaves. That night, we held a family meeting. Judy walked in with a smug smile. Good, everyone's here. We need to talk about next steps. Gideon didn't even stand. We know about Steve, he said, and your plan to move him into this house. He tried tears first, then screaming. You're choosing him over your own daughter. We're choosing the kids over instability, Celeste replied. You're not staying in that house, Gideon said, and Steve will never set foot in it. Judy stormed upstairs, stuffed clothes into bags, and shouted down the stairs. I'll call child services and tell them he's unstable. He'll regret this. Tell them, Gideon said calmly, and explain why you wanted to move your affair partner in with 2 children. She slammed the door and drove to Steve's. Within 24 hours, CPS was at our door because of her report. They found 2 kids doing a puzzle with Grandma, Grandpa fixing a cabinet, and a clean, calm house. I'm marking this as a retaliatory filing, the worker said. You'll be fine. 3 days later, we were in court for temporary custody. Judy sobbed about being an emotionally abandoned wife. Her lawyer claimed I'd stolen her support system and that she needed the house for the children's stability. My attorney stood and went through the facts. Judy moved out voluntarily. Here's the USPS change of address to Steve's apartment. Here's the utility start notice in her name at that address. Here's a screenshot of her lock screen. Tomorrow, we talk about moving you in. Here's a note from our child mentioning Steve taking them out alone. And here are the deed and tax records showing the house belongs only to Gideon and Celeste. Gideon testified, we bought that home for our grandchildren. It was never gifted to Judy. We want stability, and right now Dante is providing it. The judge barely needed a minute. Primary residence for the children will remain with their father, she ruled. Mother gets alternate weekends and 1 midweek evening. The man known as Steve is not to be around the children for at least 6 months. Judy shot to her feet. You can't do this. The judge nodded once. I just did. Online, Judy tried to spin the story. She posted that I'd stolen the kids and that her parents had been brainwashed. Her former best friend Maeve replied publicly, I watched you plan to move Steve in while you were still married. Stop lying. The comments turned fast. Sympathy dried up. Then Steve posted a photo with another woman and a caption about cutting drama out of your life. No mention of Judy at all. A few weeks later, Gideon and Celeste put the house into a trust for Rowan and Kit. I'm listed as the residential guardian. Judy has no claim. She found out and screamed at them on their front lawn while the neighbors filmed. She thought the house made her untouchable. Turned out it just made the fall louder.